And Joe Banner, who's a former NFL GM, he posted this on social. He said, if Barkley wanted to help running back pay or avoid getting tagged again, he made a huge mistake. This will encourage teams to continue to play hardball with running backs. Dan, you're sort of smiling.
Well,
is he right?
I love Joe because Joe was a hardliner when he worked in front offices, and now he's like, well, the players should be standing up for themselves. But anyway, we used to work together, and I kid him about it. He's right. Yes, Saquon. If I were organizing the next running back Zoom call that they had, right, to complain about their situation on Saturday, I would not invite Saquon Barkley. He does not seem to be sort of, wanting to help the cause here. And he gave in. He got almost nothing. He got some incentive bonuses that are tied to very high statistical benchmarks and the Giants making the playoffs. And he got $2 million up front. I can't imagine Saquon Barkley is out of money and needed the $2 million now. I think those were just kind of a way he could say that he won a little bit, but he didn't. He probably would have been better off taking whatever the long-term offer was from the Giants when they still could.
Yeah. So that was a complicated situation. I'm being told in my ear that we have breaking news from the Giants, and it involves a lot of money, and it's from Schefter. So this is the breaking news. I'll read it with you here. This is from Adam Schefter's Twitter. Left tackle Andrew Thomas and the Giants reached agreement on a 5-year, $117.5 million extension that includes an offensive line record $67 million fully guaranteed at signing, tying him to New York through the 2029 season. Andrew Thomas, left tackle, huge money. So the Giants pay their quarterback, they pay their left tackle. They couldn't find any change in the sofa for their most important player in Saquon Barkley. What do you think of this, Harry?
Well, 2023, when you look at the quarterback position, these organizations are going to make sure that quarterback is paid, even if it's not a guy that they feel like is in the upper echelon. If you feel like you have a quarterback that can get you over the hump or get you to certain places, then they're going to pay that guy. Also, you look at a left tackle, right tackle, it doesn't matter. Tackle, period. Those are the people that protect the quarterback and also provide the avenues and lanes for the running backs to run through. So those guys are going to get paid on top of wide receivers, guys that go and sack the quarterback, and corners. Those are the guys who are normally going to get paid in the National Football League.
There's a salary cap in the league. You have to manage your resources, your high-end resources, high draft picks, and high money, big money contracts. Left tackle's a position that gets paid. Yep. Running back is not. And the Giants have made it very clear over the last 2 days that what the priority is and what it isn't in terms of the cap.
Again, never pay any attention to what they say. Just look at what they do. The Giants had a magnificent season in which no one expected them to be as good as they were. Saquon Barkley was by far the most important reason why. And everyone else got rewarded for it.
Maybe Andrew Thomas was
a lot more than he was. Well, he didn't hurt, but he wasn't the reason they got where they got. All right, what is Mike that Kellen wasn't?
Mike is a coach that Jerry Jones believes in. He is. And I mean, we've beaten him up on this show for a couple things and some things he said in press conferences that didn't make sense to us. But the fact of the matter is Cowboys ownership believes Mike McCarthy is the right coach for that team and now the right offensive play caller for that team. So that's what they've said all along, that their belief in McCarthy is what's directing this decision. And McCarthy feels like it's going to be better if he's calling plays. We're all going to find out together.
Well, look, I mean, we sat here last year, and it's not as though the Cowboys were a terrible team or had a terrible season. They are a good team and had a good season. But I think many of us thought they could have achieved more than they did. And it looks like the owner, and look, it's his team, he can do what he wants. Instead of focusing on the quarterback, who played badly, instead of focusing on the head coach, who has clearly given us reason for question, he decided to make the offensive coordinator the scapegoat. And that's fine. Again, it's his purview, but I'm not 100% sure that it solves the problems they have.
Well, that's the thing for me, too. You look at 2 of the last 4 years, they had the #1 offense in the National Football League and was top 15 another year, and then Dak Prescott got hurt. That's why they fell off the other year. So it's kind of surprising to me, but looking at Mike McCarthy over the years when he was at Green Bay, it's not like the run game was like at the top of the totem pole when he was in Green Bay. So I'm really trying to understand when he say he's going to run the ball more and he's calling the plays, that wasn't your forte when you was in Green Bay.
Let me help you illustrate that point. With this graphic right here, over the course of time, his teams, they scored a lot of points. They did a lot of really good things. Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback. Only one team in the league ran the ball less than they did over the course of time. Now, again, this is a different team. It's a different quarterback and all of that. But Mike McCarthy is not known as a guy who wants to run the ball. Further, Ninko, it came up earlier this week, they may not really have the horse to do that. And by that, I don't mean horses, but the horse. Tony Pollard is their lead running back. Ryan Clark suggested that playing him in a 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense is like running a Ferrari in a demolition derby. That's not his forte. Do they have the right pieces to run the offense they're talking about playing?
Today, without Zach Martin? No, not even close. Because you need an offensive line to run the football. So in order for them to be a physical, run the ball first type team, you got to have the horses up front. You don't have Zach Martin. He's the anchor. He's the guy that's going to help you do that. And then let's think about the way that the offenses are run in 2023. This isn't 10, 12, 15 years ago. The running the football now is kind of on the back burner. We're seeing that with contracts, right? Want to throw the football. Teams want to throw the football. The most successful teams, they're in spread offense. They're in 10, 11, 20 personnel. They're trying to spread out, and they're trying to get more receivers on the football field. Bringing in the horses and running the football, that's not what I expect to see in 2023. And that's not scoring a lot of points type football. That's time management, time of possession, game management. That's managing the game. And the last time I checked, Mike McCarthy has had a few issues with managing the game. End of half, end of the game, snapping the ball.
No, that's exactly right. What he's describing, Danny, is what teams who don't have a lot of faith in their own quarterbacks do. They think, well, we're going to play defense, or we're going to run the ball. That makes a lot of sense if your quarterback is not someone you believe in. That's not who we perceive Dak Prescott to be.
No, look, as is often the case with the Cowboys, I think a lot has been made of a couple of comments, right? And I don't believe, honestly, that in his heart, Mike McCarthy wants to be a run-first offense. I don't think that's the case, and we've shown that's not in his history. It's not in his DNA. I think he probably wants to run the ball a little bit more and a little bit better when they have leads to put games away. And I think that's what we probably expect to see, and that probably lines up more with what they've been talking about.
Right. They got the kind of defense that will rush the passer if they do get out in front. Linko's got one final thought. Go ahead, Rob.
One thing that a lot of head coaches and coaches talk about with being tough, being a tough team, is can you run the football? So maybe Mike McCarthy is trying to emphasize toughness. We are going to be a tough football team. When you can run the ball and you can stop the run defensively, you are a physically and mentally tough team. If they run the ball and the defense, which we know is a great defense, can stop the run, maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to emphasize toughness to his team. So he's talking about, we're going to run the ball. We're going to stop the run. That's how you measure toughness in a football team.
For the third time now in NFL history, we live in a world in which a division can get all its teams into the playoffs since they added the team.
I like that question.
A couple of years ago. And while none of us expect it to happen, someday it's going to, right? Like a 16 was never going to beat a 1 in the NCAA tournament until they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someday a division is going to get all of their teams into the playoffs. If I'm telling you this is the year, which division would get all 4 of its teams into the playoffs? Let me see, put the picks up there. Who do I start with? Graziano, let's go. Graz, which division will do it?
I'll stick with that one, the AFC North. I think because it's hard. Like, if you line them up, you could say, well, Pittsburgh looks like it might finish 4th. Well, I'm not buying Mike Tomlin going to finish 4th. He's never had a losing season in his entire career as a head coach. So, I would say that, again, I don't know what to make of the Browns. I don't know what we're going to see from Deshaun Watson, but I know there's a possibility that it could be great. So, I think that would be my pick.
The AFC North. Harry Douglas, which division is likeliest to get all of its teams in?
I'm going to go to AFC East. And when you look at that division, since these young quarterbacks have been in that division, they have led their teams to the playoffs already, all except for the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers has come over to that division to try to lead them to a playoff berth. So that's what I'm going. I'm going to AFC East.
Yeah, once again, it's really about which of the teams that we figure to be near the bottom we have more faith in. Live to Foxborough, my man Mike Reese is with us in the baking sun this morning in Foxborough. And my big question for the Patriots, I think, is clearly the big one. Can Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator who they bring back now, can he turn Mac Jones back around?
Greeny, I'm going to give you a decisive yes. I also want to point out it's a great morning here. I got the blocking sled behind me, and when I looked at it, I think there's still a dent in there from number 50, Rob Ninkovich. It says Ninko. Ninko was here. Hey, Bill O'Brien, here's the thing. Here's why it's a decisive yes on Mac Jones. He is the closest thing, Bill O'Brien, to Josh McDaniels without being Josh McDaniels. People forget Bill O'Brien came to New England in 2007 to work under Josh McDaniels as an entry-level assistant. So what he does on offense is very similar to what Josh McDaniels does. And think about it. When Mac Jones was a rookie under Josh McDaniels, what was everyone saying? A lot of promise there. So trying to get him back to that, and I think Bill O'Brien has a great chance to do that.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.